Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sophie, could you do the roll call, please?
George K.
Here.
Srinivasa Chalakonda.
Here.
Genevieve Corsi. Here. James Hennessy.
Present.
Michael Kelly. Toby Lewis.
Here.
William Nowak.
Here.
Renee Powell.
Here.
Miguel Proano. Mitchell Marks.
Here.
Kristen Kozakowski. Braden McNault.
Here.
Erica Evans. Beth Essman. Also in attendance, Molly Keys, John Caldwell, and myself, Sophia Kopp.
Thank you. Is there a motion for the minutes?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion's been made, motion approved. Any questions, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries, minutes have been approved. Is there anyone here for public input? Is there anyone here for public input? Is there anyone here for public input? Seeing none, we'll move on. I see Erica's not here, so I'm assuming there's no council report. Move on. Did she communicate with you or send anything to you? Okay. Beth Essman contacted me and she said she wasn't coming. She said Board of Ed did not meet, and so she doesn't have anything to report. Special reports and tasks. No report. George K. has no report for open space. They have not met. Speeding on through to Molly, Parks and Rec report.
All right, good evening. So we are in the middle of summer for us. We are full roll, all of our summer programs. Our parks are packed, VMP is packed. The weather has been very warm. So, all of our facilities are getting heavy use. So we are 3 weeks into camp now. So we've only had about 3 weeks of camp so far. It feels like a lot more because it's been so fast-paced. It's been really awesome to see the environment, though, shift from when we, first moved into 350 Foster Street to now having 300-plus kids every single day through the hallways, singing camp songs, theme days. It's just a whole shift of energy, and it's been really, really nice. So far, we've already served over 680 kids. Super awesome. They've had field trips like the zoo, the beach, the movies, bowling, and of course VMP several times. So we look forward to continued good weather in camp. And I just really want to give a shout out to the camp staff. Just listening to the high energy that you just hear every single day, no matter the weather, no matter the behaviors, no matter the time of day. They're very consistent, and they treat every single week as if it's like the first day of camp for the kids, which is super important for that experience. So they're doing a really great job. VMP, we have been open since early June, and it's been very packed. It's extremely steady, I would say. The first couple weeks, not so much, but now we're really in full gear. Every single day I've been out to the pool. It's been a little tough because they're doing construction over there, so we've had to rework the parking lot. We've come up with a pretty decent plan in terms of signage to make sure that patrons understand where they can park, the traffic flow, things like that. But now that we've dealt with that issue, patrons seem to be very happy. The pool is extremely just a welcoming space. Our staff, again, are very energetic. We have not received any negative feedback about the staff, which is awesome, and about the operations. We've had a couple sessions of swim lessons so far, and they're full for the remainder of the summer. Of course, we'll have some ebbs and flows in terms of our wait lists throughout the summer, but we've had a lot of happy families for that. And we have over 94 kids on the swim team. So we've had several swim meets. We've seen an increase in numbers of kids on the team as well for this season. So we're going to have a couple more home meets this season. And then in terms of VMP, on July 19th, so next week, we're hosting a dive-in movie, Pirates of the Caribbean. So we'll be doing that at 8 p.m. We're going to have some other activities over there as well. And then we are going to be also hosting a VMP Veterans event on July 23rd, and that's going to be offering veterans and their immediate family free admission, but we're also going to do some activities like push-up contests, cannonball contests, music, cornhole, snacks, and then we're going to be doing also resources for veterans as well. So that's going to be a super awesome event. And then besides that, VMP will just keep going with swim lessons and open swim for the whole summer. And fingers crossed so we continue to have good weather. For everything else, so we have softball going on, we have cornhole going on, we got pickleball league going on, we also have badminton going on. We've had a couple of throw ball open gyms going on. We have Jaquito still happening. So we still have some sports occurring throughout the summer, but we try to minimize the amount of gym time being used because it's extremely hot inside. But for badminton, we have 45 participants right now. Jaquito usually has about 20 per so for a session. Softball, we have 12 teams this year. It's been really awesome to see. They've had a couple rain out weeks, but our schedule is still set to end around the end of August. So, you know, we have a very energetic league. Pickleball, it's been a great one so far. We have 50 participants. Our staff over here, Sophia, is actually one of the participants in our league. So it's really cool. We have people of all ages that are participating. We're actually planning a pickleball tournament on September 9th and 10th. So, which is going to be a really cool weekend. It's the same weekend as our poker ride at Rye Street. So we're going to have the poker ride going on, which is a bicycling event. And then we're also going to have the pickleball tournament. So first one that we've hosted in town. It'll be a really cool new opportunity. And then besides that, we've been doing some Meet Me at the Park events, which is that initiative that we started back in January, February. So we were able to kind of connect with other town departments in order to do some community outreach. So we did a kickoff to the summer on June 21st. We had Dairy Queen give us ice cream, and we handed out 175 ice creams at Nevers Park. Super fun. Everyone was happy to see us. Obviously, free ice cream too. It's a nice perk on the first day of summer. We're going to be working with Dairy Queen again for National Ice Cream Day in July, and then as well as we just hosted an event with the police department yesterday, and it was a drone event and paper airplanes. So the police allowed all the kids, there was about 35 kids that went, they were able to fly the drone, see how that worked, and it was really neat for them to be able to work with the police to see that, and then they got to make some paper airplanes as well and practice flying. So it's just been a bunch of different outreach and sports and camps, and you know, we obviously have the farmers market going on every week. Again, hopefully the weather cooperates with us, but we will be continuing to do that every Saturday through October 7th. And then a couple other ones. So we have the summer concert series, which started Thursday, June 29th. We had some commission members that attended that one as we were able to be recognized prior to the concert starting for National Park and Rec Month, which was super awesome. We got the proclamation. We were very honored to have that ability to kind of go up there and speak on the importance of park and rec as a profession. And really this month, I'm trying to really work on how we can be more out in the community to really show the vital role that our parks and rec professionals play in bringing people together, providing essential services, and fostering growth for our community. And again, I really want to take that moment to acknowledge, I said it at the concert, and I say it every day to my staff when I can, all the work that they do. I mean, that's how we make things happen. Without them, without the background work of our parks crews, our recreation staff, we wouldn't have the exceptional facilities or the sport fields or the programs. They're truly the heart of it. So, you know, I know this month is focusing on Parks and Rec, but every month I really just want to take moment to acknowledge the hard work that goes into what we offer for our community. So that's something that was really big for us to be able to have that proclamation and for the community to see that. Yeah, so the concerts will be going on through August 17th, which we'll be doing our ABCD Awards. We'll be sending out an invite for commission members for the ABCD Awards to attend those as well. And then throughout the summer, we'll have some more events, whether that's the movie nights, we have water safety nights, we'll have the Monday Night Social Club also going on throughout the summer, and it's just going to be full speed ahead, truly. So we're excited to have all that energy, all the kids, all the families, just at all of our events and at our programs, and we kind of hope to see everyone throughout the summer.
Thank you, Molly.
Yeah.
With regard to VMP, did they do something about parking for the seniors, for the elders? I know that was a question last month.
Yeah, so we were having some issues, again, with like handicap parking, for example.
Right.
So we rectified that issue by putting up more signage for it and expanding the parking for that. But we also made sure that the parking, like towards the front, was supposed to be for more people with limited mobility. We're still working on figuring out how we can really enforce that. It's a little difficult to enforce it when you're working with the public. But we're hopeful that people are going to be respectful of it. It's been tough. I mean, to be honest, it has really been tough with the parking. But that first couple weeks, people were like, we have to walk a half a mile down this hill to go to the pool. So we've really been dealing with that ongoing struggle.
Thank you. Yeah. Any questions for Molly?
I had a question. Molly, first I wanted to thank you and your staff, and John, you and your staff, they do a great job, and I wanted to echo the comments that were made at the proclamation last week when we were there. That was
great night.
It was a great night.
Your staff was full of energy, on par.
Yeah, the recognition was well deserved, so I just wanted to say that. You had mentioned gym time and limiting it, and I actually made me think about the building and summer camps. You provided an update last month about how the building was working. I just wanted to know if you could provide sort of how that's working out over the last few weeks.
Yeah, for summer camp. So as of July 1, we have a new custodial company, which has helped us out tremendously. So now we have someone throughout the day that's going to be there to kind of keep up with the mess of camp, which has been a world of difference in terms of that. They have come and repaired all the bathrooms so that way they could be functioning, so we have not had any more issues with that. And AC has been an ongoing issue, but we have slowly been installing them in all spaces and making it work because it's wicked stuffy in the building. Naturally, it's an old building, not a lot of ventilation. And again, the gyms, all the gyms in the district, whether it's a new building or an old building, is still super stuffy. So we do have some sport camps, for example, in some of our other gyms, but we're really trying to limit them to be outside more so than in the gym, but naturally because of the rain, we've had to deal with that. But the building, the issues that we asked to be addressed have been addressed.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Molly.
Let me have John.
Good evening, everyone. Parks crew, as always, we've been busy. The heat doesn't exactly help us with the fields and fungus and things like that go on the grass and the turf areas. We've been dealing with some issues at some of the all-purpose field, Rotary's baseball field, and a little bit at Nevers with some fungus and some issues like that. Grass is actually growing a lot faster than it normally does, and with this kind of heat because of the downpours and the rain that we've had. Luckily, we weren't like the Vermont area and didn't get beat up like they did, and we did some work at Rotary Pavilion. We planted new flowers, a variety of things there. Our groundskeeper did that, and then a couple of the guys removed all the old stuff that was there. It was called a chameleon plant, which was supposed to be a ground cover, and it ended up being a little bit more than a ground cover, so we dug all that out. We replaced that, gave it a brand new facelift with some daylilies, Russian sage, and some fresh mulch. We also edged out the sidewalk there with Belgian blocks. We made, if you've been to the farmer's market, there's a brand new pavilion there that we put. The guys constructed that. It's actually a structure from Lowe's that we got. It was in our budget, and it actually worked out very well. It's a nice structure. It's got a cement pad underneath it. The crew did a great job with that. We had a contractor do some work at Lawrence Road Park, do some more clearing of all the invasives, the autumn olive, poison ivy, and bittersweet. We left any good standing trees there, but there were also a lot of fallen trees and uprooted trees, so the contractor also got rid of those while we were there. The plan is that we'll keep the trails, grassy trails like they were. We're going to use a meadow grass in the other areas, and that will get maintained once or twice a year, just to open it up more. The state DEEP is pushing hard meadow grasses and meadow habitat, and one of the things that they want us to do in the state is to remove all of our, not all of the invasives, but as many as we can, and plant a meadow grass for the animals and things to thrive in that area. So that's going to help Lawrence Road Park out a lot. We continue the maintenance on all of our fields like always, and I'm sure you probably want to hear a little splash pad update. The contractor has been in and out a few times. All the drains are installed. The water lines for the features are in the ground. They're not buried yet. Our crew's been working alongside with them on a lot of stuff. The water discharge line is all hooked up. We've tapped into the system for that, so that's taken care of. The large stainless steel cabinet, if you go by, you'll notice there's a stainless steel cabinet. That houses all the controls and everything that runs the splash pad. And then next to that will be a wooden shed, and that'll house a small electrical service, like if we want to put a light or something on the outside of that, just for lighting, and also we can put an outlet on the outside of it. But the crew's been doing a great job. Contractor's been a little bit of a struggle. Getting materials has been a lot of a struggle, even though that's terrible English. And, you know, one of the things that we checked on today is like, where's the water features? And they're like, they're weeks away. So, you know, we've ordered these long ago, and I don't know if it's manufacturing, I don't know if it's shipping, but the only thing we can do is hope they expedite everything as fast as they can. I did throw some numbers together about Orchard Hill, which we're going to call new recreation, and we have, in our department, we have approximately 2,500 to 3,000 man hours into that school so far. That's just our department, the parks. That's not what recreation's done. It's not what building maintenance has done. We are officially out of Old Wapping, but we are by far not done with Old Orchard Hill. So, like Molly said, it's an old building. It's not really designed for what we're using it for, but they've done a good job with it, her and the staff. And like Molly said, when you go there during the day, you see nothing but smiling faces. So it's nice to see the kids seem to be pretty happy. And again, you know, kudos to her crew and our crew. They do a great job sometimes with the resources that we have available. And you know, hands up to them, or however you want to say it, but they're still doing a great job. So I think that's about it.
John, I have a question on your resources. You mentioned you're working at Wapping, putting a lot of hours into that. What mindset do you have each day when you approach your normal routine, then this particular project? How are you divvying up, and is the town offering you any help there to try to get this project faster, to try to get this facility up and running for the people?
You know, I think everybody's doing the best they can with the time and the money that we have allotted for it. And like people say, if you give me all the time and money in the world, we can make anything happen. I think between building maintenance and the Recreation and Parks Department, you know, it's a struggle, it's a challenge. And I mean, I could sit up here and candy coat it, but I'm not going to. You know me well enough to know I'm not going to do that. So it takes away from some of our daily work. As you heard, 2,500 or 3,000 hours is other work that we would normally do. You know, we have Shelby runs a great program. Those kids have to be safe in that program. There's some small children in it. They have to have a fenced-in play area, so we've had to modify the back side of it. We've had to add fencing. We added a roadway in. We've added double gates for vehicle access. We actually had to put sod in one of the areas, and now, you know, we keep it watered, but I can't expand an area 25 feet and make it dirt for 3 months because it doesn't work. They're going to be in mud.
Do you assign somebody in there every day?
No. There'll be days that we'll assign a crew there, I mean, a good advantage, like, if we get rain days, we will send guys there to paint or clean up or do things like that inside. But the building's come along, it's come a long way. When you go in, you can see it's come a long way. But like I said, I think everybody spends as much time as they can there without letting other things suffer too much. But the problem is everything's suffering just a little bit now.
I remember when we went through this at Wapping, and you put a lot of work in and you changed the face of that building tremendous, right? And the school board pulled that building out from under you, and I'll be frank about that. But we put a lot of effort in, and your crews worked diligently, and they pulled away from a lot of the functions in this town, if it's pickleballs or if it's baseball fields, whatever it is. And we put all that labor into it and put all that money into it. And the town school board pulled that out from under you. And now we're back here again. Again, you're gonna put labor and time into it. And this is a building we might not be able to keep or shouldn't keep. We should probably get into something better anyways. We've looked at that. But I'm just seeing this cycling dollar going through, and I'm gonna call it lack of foresight, and what many people are not happy about. You're doing great, don't get me wrong. But I realize you got a Band-Aid guy in there one day, you got a hammer guy in there the next. That's tough to do any project in the building profession, to do it that way. And kudos to you and your team, but I think we're doing a disservice to you from this town, putting you in this spot.
Thank you. I think at least we know we're not gonna have this building ripped out from under us. If this ends up being our home, which, again, hopefully the commission and everybody can get together and we can come up with a design and a build and a referendum and go out and hopefully the town supports it. I think the town deserves a new recreation facility. I mean, I think we have some of the greatest amenities in town. We have great services. And, you go to other towns like, wow, this is really nice. Why don't we have something like this? And I mean, honestly, we're South Windsor. We're a pretty popular town and we rate pretty high in the rankings. So, yeah, I would love to see a new facility for the recreation department. And I honestly think they deserve one.
Great. Thank you, John. Anyone else?
I just want to agree with Bill. I think you're absolutely right. I think we're long past due, having looked at this problem for the last 4 or 5 years and not done anything. So we really need to get on that and make concrete action happen, and soon. So.
Thank you for your comments.
Molly, where do we need to press? I mean, where do we need to, there's not one person. I mean, obviously you need money, you need commitment. There's a lot of talk, right? But
Correct, yeah.
look at these parks and look at the people enjoying them and what we could do with this. And if there's a way we can press, if there's a way we can up the pressure a little bit, then we ought to do that for you and help you with that. Because I think right now it's pushed and pushed and pushed further down the road. It's like kicking a can, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And kids are gonna come and grow up in this town and leave in this town and never go into a pool.
Bill, this is a
Right,
nice
or,
transition to our homework assignment. Molly had asked us to work on a plan, or we had thought that if we come up with a plan to present to the town council, then we're giving ourselves a platform for which to argue and push with. And at that point, at some point, I think I had suggested pulling the JI in on this report and some members said that might be premature, not yet. So let's go a little bit down the road. Respecting that, we were supposed to come up with, anyone do the homework and come up with some questions that we could?
I mean, we did have the building committee, and we did have drawings done for, a rec department.
So correct. So Colliers did come up with some findings and in the costs.
That's for like 6 months going over this whole thing, but it all came down to $80 million, which was nowhere to be found. That's basically what it was. I mean, we had drawings done for different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, so the three locations were identified, and it was narrowed down to, well, I guess it was still at 3. And then it was just the cost. So they didn't go down to the renderings yet because we didn't make a definite decision of what we wanted, right? So they said they gave us a ballpark of the minimum cost, the maximum cost, and the amenities, and, obviously different things come with different price tags. But I'm hoping that, whether it's the Park and Rec Commission, the building commission, the town council, were able to come up with a directive in order to kind of move this forward, to utilize the materials that we already have and the data we already have, and to kind of push it forward into community focus.
Is there an angle that needs to come through the corporate donors in this town?
So that is a big
I'll tell you
one.
why, because I remember the football thing that was gonna go across the street, remember that? And now, and, you know, we were all going to our rec little, meetings and having meetings outside, and I remember one of the corporates saying, you know, if you guys build that stadium, I will put the scoreboard up there, I'll put my name on that. Well, I don't know if we can do that, it's the town, we gotta get this approval and that approval. I don't know where the money went. I don't know all these good-natured people who came forward and said, I'd like to help you. This 80 million that George is talking about, that's a big number, but I'd like to help you with it. But we couldn't drive that nail in. We couldn't get through the politics of that, right? But there were people willing to help us on our way. So, you know, from where I don't know where these roadblocks are and why they're there.
Right.
But if you can cut us a path, and somebody from Home Depot or Coca-Cola, and I'll throw those names out there because they want to have a name on a stadium or a pool in this town.
Yep.
But they can't get there, and they might as well just say, heck with you, I'll go somewhere else. And that's what they do.
Yeah, so public-private partnerships are huge in the success of funding several recreation facilities across the country. And I've seen a lot of towns and cities have successful models with it. And I've definitely explored those conversations with the other towns to see what they've done. And every town and city is made up a little bit differently in terms of the government. But I do think it's a huge possibility for us, and we have the businesses in town that would support us, whether that is Home Depot or, you know, another warehouse company or the medical companies that would align more with our mission and vision. Because at the end of the day, a lot of the medical companies do like chronic disease prevention and therapy that would align with the wellness side of what we do. So I do want us to explore that angle, because I think that's how we're going to be able to make the facility affordable for our residents. But I think that's going to be a conversation that we have once we can get the kind of go ahead to make this happen.
Right, we need a plan, we need a model, because if you look with that kind of money, they want to see what they're paying for.
Correct, and we do have like some baseline information from Colliers. I think we would have to kind of just move forward with one direction and be confident in our decisions. And I think that if, you know, we spoke to the town council and got a directive in that sense, then we'd be able to kind of move forward with that.
So it goes to the council and then back here, or does it come through here and then over to the council? What's the path?
So my understanding is the town council has to kind of drive it, because they're the ones that have to obviously make the resolution and set, you know, the path for that. I understand it is on the agenda for Monday's meeting.
Yep.
This topic in general. And I think it's kind of figuring out how our past committees being utilized, how our different paths being looked at, who's driving the force, whether it's the commission, whether it's an outside committee, whether, you know, because there's, like you said, we've all been talking about it for way too long at this point.
Yep.
30 years?
Yeah, well, yeah. I did look at a lot of the minutes from the committee that had met, I believe it was the second part of last year, I think was the last committee, that was appointed by the town council. And so I kind of went through some of the plans that Colliers had drawn up, and it seemed to me like the one that made the most sense and that had the most possibility was the Priest property. There are challenges, there are pros and cons to that. But of the three different plans that were made, that one seemed to be the only one feasible out of those three. Now, I don't know if there is a way to look at anything outside of those three. I don't know if we need to do a deeper analysis on the Priest property so we can actually determine like if this is indeed the best, if it's feasible. I know there's issues with access, with roadways, state versus town. Definitely. But I didn't see any other feasible possibility. So maybe we need a deeper analysis to make sure that that is the right direction. I don't know if you guys have thoughts on.
Well, I think you could find something, you know,
Yeah.
but I think where we choke off is the money.
Sure.
And you can design it all you want, but for some reason that doesn't get to the table or doesn't get to the discussions. I mean, I've seen referendums come through this town where they were voted down, they were exorbitant numbers to do recreation facilities, but what was left out was corporations saying, if you build it, we will pay.
Right.
And that was left off. And people, if they knew that if you build a rec center and the parking lot was paid for by somebody and the stadium lights were paid for by somebody, that wasn't on the referendum, that was never presented to people. And
Right,
I
that
don't know
was
how you
my
get that there, but people
Yeah.
need to be aware that that could be a possibility so that maybe it looks like 80, but maybe it really isn't 80. And
Yeah.
maybe we should move forward
Because those numbers are scary.
Yeah,
But
it is
if we-
scary. It's
But it's
scary.
also hard to plan on something. You can't necessarily contract a corporation for a potential
True.
project that may or may not get voted in. So that's where I think it's definitely a challenge to figure out how to do that. But if we can engage these corporations, I don't know if we can have conversations that can be brought up during this process.
But Genevieve, you brought up at the beginning, the main point. We need a mandate from the,
We need the mandate
from the political leaders to say, this is what we want, the town wants, because it's what the residents have asked for. Right now, I mean, if you go to the town council subcommittee, there are members on there that are not interested in moving this forward. So until you make that change and change people's minds, it's
That's a
not gonna
big
happen.
problem.
So what we need to do is develop a pitch that gets them to agree. Say, go ahead, let's move forward, right? Let's act as if we have the money. How would we move forward?
And I think I agree to a point. I think we
Right, to a point.
need to have a plan, a package, a product that we can sell. And it might be a scary amount of money, but if we at least have a fully formed product to sell to the people who really want this product and this service, that I think is the first part, the first step, because we can't just sell dreams and ideas.
I'm thinking Hartford Healthcare.
Hey, go for it, yeah, sure.
Well, 'cause you're right. You do need a wellness part of whatever you're gonna build, right? I mean, it's gotta be some sort of, if you're gonna sell it to the masses, you have to have the older part of the community can use it for PT or,
Right.
you know, pool therapy or whatever. So that's gotta be a big part of it. And that's where Hartford Healthcare or Sanford, whoever, needs to come step forward with that. Because they'll be part of it, they'll have their name.
Well, they're already building buildings in town anyway.
Well, I know, but if they're part of the rec center too, I mean, that's a big
Right,
difference.
a bank.
No, I mean, the need for this building, this facility, is overwhelming and obvious to everyone in this commission who's been looking at this issue for the last 25 years. So it's a matter of convincing those people who don't agree with us that that's what needs to happen.
Yep.
I think almost the bigger problem with, it's not convincing the people that don't agree with us, because those people probably aren't going to be convinced. It's convincing the people that don't know. Like you said, there's, 600 kids almost that are coming to camp, but that leaves a whole lot of people in town who are not interacting with New Recreation and are not seeing, how do I put this, like politely, the state that the building is in and the fact that the town is in need of a new one. So I think what you said is like, we need a way to get the information out, and I think that's gonna be the biggest hurdle to anything. They know it's gonna be expensive, but if we can convince the public that with the expense, they're gonna be getting their money back in services to the town.
Oh, yeah.
It shouldn't be that bad.
Yep.
Do we have any budget money at all that we can use for anything? For example, if we created a postcard with features and benefits of a new facility, we have bullet points. Is there a way to do that?
So we have allocated funds for Park and Rec Commission that we could utilize. It's a nominal amount. I mean, it's not a huge budget number. I'd have to pull what we have for this upcoming fiscal year. But we could utilize that towards advertisement or whatever you wish. You'd have to make a vote on it, and we could do that.
Is it usually the same, like, it used to be around 3,000 we get.
Yeah, it is around that. I just don't want to give out the wrong information.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yep.
it's not like.
It's not a huge amount of money, no.
No, but for something like what Toby's thinking about, that's not gonna like break the budget. It's
No.
not gonna break the bank on it.
Nope.
Molly, we had discussed or at least briefly mentioned, having a mock-up of a website, page, tab, whatever, what have you, for the brochure. Is that still something that we're able to do so that we kind of have a landing page that people can access and then we can design that landing page?
Yeah, so the issue with that was the brochure was due like a month ago, so, but we had discussed what that would look like internally. We talked about that and what we could do with that. And we have our website that we do anyways, monitor ourselves, which is separate from the town website. It's our rec desk software. So in the meantime, we could start with that web base and utilize it that way and link it. And then we were thinking for the spring one, we could have a QR code that would go right from the director's message. But we could make it live prior to that and just advertise it in other ways.
Okay.
Right, go ahead. I'm
Sorry, I was just right on that point. Can you put a banner whenever anybody has to register for anything? Can you design it so that when everybody's logging in and having to sign up for something, that they see something about
That
your
is a
facility?
function of the website,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
correct,
okay.
yeah.
So I think to get to Bill's point is some of these things need to happen concurrently.
Yep.
But what can we do now to help you? Right? Is that what
Do you want us to show up Monday to the town council meeting? And because it is a topic for discussion?
I
should we-
think that would help,
Okay.
whoever could be there on Monday and just advocate for the department. Because John and I will obviously be there in terms of department staff, but if we had members of the commission or public members that could advocate for the park and rec facility, that'd be great.
And I would think, members, if more of us can show up than showed up at the concert would be good.
And to Molly's point, a bipartisan group, I
Yes,
think would be very
yes.
important to show up.
And we want to communicate in such a way, not as in I'm on the commission, but that I know that my neighbors and myself and my family would appreciate this, and speak from a community base as opposed to a commission based, if that makes sense.
Are we able to speak as commissioners or?
That's what I was going to ask as well. I was going to say, is there any way we could pass a motion of support of moving this project forward so that on Monday we can show up at the town council and say, we as a commission voted so-and-so last week?
Well, I think it might be more powerful if each one of us had a chance to speak and we said, and as part of this, I vote for it. And we just, because we have more power there individually.
But I don't know if we're allowed to speak as actual commissioners. So I don't know if we're allowed to go up there and say, I'm Parks and Rec
You're allowed to
commissioner."
speak during public input as well on any topic item.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's on the agenda, so we get the first part too. We don't have to stay till 10 o'clock at night.
It's always nice.
Do we, what is on the agenda? What are they gonna actually discuss?
I don't know the exact wording on the agenda. I don't know if
Okay.
you know.
Do you know?
It'll be
The
published.
exact wording, no, I haven't seen the agenda yet. It's not out yet, so I haven't seen the wording on it, but they're going to be discussing the next steps in terms of the direction towards gaining support or gathering a plan for the facility. What that's gonna look like, the direction of whom's gonna be sitting at the table for that, essentially.
Mike, are you
What do you wanna say,
raising your
Mike?
hand saying hi, or do you have, say something?
In the past, we had Lawson draft a letter that was our agreement of
Yep.
the commission of what we felt and was read at that meeting.
That's just what Brandon was saying.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. We've done that in the past.
Yes, we have.
It just never did.
Right, but it's Monday. Who's lost some of the lawyer guy? Right?
No, Al used to do, well,
Yeah.
when Al was running it. Can we get a letter of support that Toby can read or somebody can read, saying that as a commission, we support moving forward with a new facility?
Yeah. We could do
Because
that.
otherwise, you guys
Can I get a
are
motion?
stuck at Orchard
I
Hill
can
for
work
the
on
next
drafting
30
that.
years.
Okay. Genevieve
That's
will
how it's
work
gonna
on
be.
drafting that. Can I get a motion for that?
So, just so I'm happy to support the motion if I understand it. So what are we asking to be done?
We're asking for a letter to be written to say that this commission unilaterally supports moving forward on getting a building for us.
Okay.
Worded much more eloquently.
it's a statement
as
of-
Genevieve will do.
Okay, it's a statement.
Of support, basically.
Okay.
Yes, yep.
Motion of support.
A motion for written support.
Motion, okay,
To be
motion.
submitted
Got it,
to-
I got it.
To be submitted to the town council.
Right, put it in the
Right,
minutes.
so I'm looking for a motion here so we can say we all agree that we'll do that.
Got it.
So moved.
Okay, is it seconded?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, thank you. That's good. That's some nice progress.
I do, I'm a little confused about one thing. I know this is the way for most public officials. Are we, like, on Monday, when I go to the town meeting, am I allowed to go up there and say, as a member of the Parks and Rec Commission, we supported this unilaterally? Or
Yeah.
do I have to say me as an individual? Because,
No, you can say as a member of the commission.
okay.
Yeah,
No, we've all, yeah, made a motion, we all supported it. I think it's, as a
Good
body,
point.
we support the action, so.
Yeah.
It's good, good to go.
Super.
So I guess I'm wondering, as a commission, how involved do we want to be in this? And like, how much do we want to advocate to be involved in this? Because if the town council is going to be having this discussion and deciding who's going to be at the table, do we want to make sure that there are a certain number of commissioners that are in whatever room that is happening? Do we want to be the majority of who is in the room? Kind of just to get ahead of that so that the commission isn't necessarily completely owning that decision. We have hopefully a little bit of say in this. I don't know if anyone has
is
any
it,
opinions.
Molly, is it gonna be, Molly, is it gonna be like the building commission? Because, I mean, they appointed people on that, do you know? Or are they even gonna
so-
do anything?
I'm not entirely positive the direction that we're gonna be going with it, but no, because the building commission was a town council appointed commission that was derived of obviously members of various committees, but also, public.
And it
So-
was disbanded.
Yeah, I mean, they finished,
So trying to figure out if it was disbanded, if it's.
right, there's some
in limbo.
uncertainty there with
Building
that.
committee? I mean, the one that I was on, we haven't met.
Yeah, there's been a lapse in time since they've met, and they kind of finished what they were tasked with doing, essentially finding the temporary space and identifying potential for permanent space. So next step would really be looking at what commissions and town, members could really help move this project forward. So looking at the makeup of whether or not it's majority Park and Rec Commission, whether or not there's members of town council on there, or Public Building Commission.
Right, you're gonna need them.
Because they did a lot in terms of the Board of Ed buildings as well, so.
You guys gonna make it Monday?
Well, I'd like to see if they're gonna wanna continue with that and maybe add people on it, or if they're gonna just dissolve that. You think they're gonna that gone?
Let's hope so.
Well, I was on it, but I don't know.
Well, I think when it started, we knew the conclusion before Molly and I were talking before it was even formed, that what the conclusion was gonna be,
Well,
and,
Yeah,
Well, it sounds like Monday's an opportunity to educate people.
yes,
Yes, I agree.
super.
yep.
And we will move forward in a positive, productive manner.
So how does this play out? I guess I need some education on that. You have the meetings, you get some people together, they decide this is, we've done the things to ignite the urgency that should have been there right along, but wasn't, but now is. What do they then decide to do? Let's throw this in a referendum package, throw it out there and have everybody vote it down? Or is this, no, we fund this thing
Well,
within
that's up to
ourselves?
us to sell it, so we gotta.
Well,
push
no,
all
no,
the
no.
way.
It's a lady million
It might
dollars
not
if you
be
got
on,
somebody
it might
willing to
not
pay
be
40 and
completely up to
you're,
us.
It's not gonna be up to us.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be, the
It's the
town
town
council's
council.
gonna task whoever it is with coming up with what that product is that's going to be sold, whatever that is. And
Yeah,
then
and whether
it will
it
be, we will certainly need to be supportive of selling this product, but there needs to be a campaign, a separate campaign around it, just like there was for the schools. They had a full campaign where they fundraised for their own materials, the signs, the mailings.
Yep.
And so that is gonna be kind of another arm of this. But I think the first part is the town council tasking us to come up with what is gonna be voted on.
Well, first off, the town council has to agree that they want to do it. I mean,
Well,
we don't even know.
So we have
It's
some
true, because,
advan-
listen, when we did the building committee, it got to a point where you knew that all that's gonna happen was you guys going to Orchard Hill.
Yep.
And that was it. So that's kind of why we stopped meeting, because it was kind of, why are we doing this? We spent $20,000+ for Colliers to do what they did.
Same spot.
And then, like, every time we said, like, let's go to LA Fitness, whatever, it got shot down by, not the town council, but it got shot down, and you're going to Orchard Hill, and that was the answer.
Yeah.
There were, no matter what we said, it wasn't gonna
Right. I
happen.
would love to see us building on what we've already gotten from Colliers, do an analysis on the Priest property, and then, make one last pass of if anyone has some magical other idea, sure, but we've already, like you said, you've already invested in some of this with Colliers. We should build on that and.
I'd like to see those plans.
They have, I mean, we have the designs.
Yeah, and,
I'd like to see them.
yeah,
Or I'm sure
I'd
we'd
be
like to
happy
see them.
to, we'd be happy to share all the materials with everyone, yeah.
I think like George said, that group of people did what they were supposed to do.
Right.
I think it's important for all of you, or whoever it is, to make it clear that since you're such a passionate group, you've been doing this for a long time, that you need a seat at the table. You need multiple seats at the table, honestly.
I agree.
Good point, good point.
Absolutely.
You've been with the commission for years, even if you haven't, you're very passionate, we appreciate it very much. But I think you need to make it clear, even at the council meeting, that, the Park and Rec Commission needs a seat at the table, more than one seat
Well, I have
again.
a question.
And because you've put in legwork, you've all put in tons of hours. You've been to baseball fields, you've been to lacrosse fields, you've been to ice cream events, you've been to concerts, you've been all over the place. You have put the legwork in. You know what the people like, and you're passionate. And I think that's important with this kind of project. I mean, we don't need a person that's, I guess we could use one. And that's not what we want. And you've all put in a mountain of time and effort and we need a design, we need a plan, we need architectural drawings, we need, before someone's gonna say, hey, hey, we want you to give us, whatever, $40 million, they're gonna say, for what? Well, we got this vision, and we can't, like you said, Genevieve said it, we need to have something to show for it.
Right.
And that's not gonna be cheap in itself, but regardless whether it passes this time as a referendum, and maybe it'll pass next time, we need to have a design, we need to have a build, and you're gonna probably need at least $100,000 for that kind of drawings and that's what you go after. Put something on the table. So.
George?
Well, you're gonna have to spend money to get this thing pushed.
Yeah.
Correct.
I mean, that's, Daria Plummer and
Oh, yeah.
that group got our new schools. I mean,
Right.
without them pushing it, it wouldn't have passed.
Well, we have some advantages here. We're coming up on an election year. This is very bipartisan. It benefits everybody, both sides. So we have both, or all, not both sides, there's 3 or 4 sides. We have all citizens who can participate in this and help push the referendum.
Yep.
So this is a good time for us to push. And let's see if we can create some momentum from Monday night's council meeting.
That sounds good.
And honestly, a rec center is going to benefit everybody. It's going to benefit the young, the middle-aged, the old, the people that need, like Molly said. One of the things that we've always looked at is ECHN with therapy pools and things like that, walking tracks up above. I mean, this will benefit everyone, seniors down to small children. So, I think it's if there's one thing that this town's missing, it's a rec center, a real rec center. And that's the one thing that I can think of, well, that in a stadium with lights, but that's another story. But, it's good to see that you're excited about it and that you're passionate about it, because I honestly think that when we moved into Wapping, that fire kind of went out. And now that we're in our new home, which, like I said, the departments have done a great job, it's definitely not, it won't even be as nice as Wapping was.
It's not
so
suited for recreation.
It's not. So I say kudos to all of you. Hopefully see you Monday night and you make, how your passionate feelings told. So good for you.
Do you
I
think
can't say much more because Molly's going to give me the eyes again.
I'm kind of hoping to wrap this up because we can
Okay,
keep this
I
on for
just
a long
have one
time.
thing.
Okay.
I know you said you could get us the resources. Do you think you could get us those before the weekend so we could use them in
Yeah,
our
of course.
comments on Monday? Because I think if we show up to the council, not only as like unanimous support, but also saying we wouldn't be starting from scratch. This is what we have, and this is what we need.
But the council got those plans.
Correct, so the
The council
council's
did.
aware of the plans, and
Last
it
year,
was
they
made
got the
public.
plans
Yep.
that Colliers presented. So they all had, even town manager was
Right,
there.
but they've
so they all-
backburnered that, that's all.
Well, they've had them,
Yeah,
and they had the costs on it too.
Is there any other business that someone would like to
so.
bring up?
We should.
Is there a motion I should entertain?
I move to adjourn.
Is that seconded?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.